And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, June 15th, 2019. It is Season 13, Episode 22. I'm Scott.
And I'm RJ.
And no Matt this week. Hang on just a moment here, and let's do that.
Clap, clap.
Clap, 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 clap. Don't have to worry about that anymore. Welcome to the show, everybody. If you'd like to get in touch with us, and we encourage you to do so, call us 334-272-9228. 334-272-9228. You can go to ingamechat.net. You'll find all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can find us on Facebook at InGameChat. You can email us, everyone, at ingamechat.net. We are streaming right now on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv. You can find us there. You can join us live in the chat room while we broadcast the show. So, welcome everyone to the program. It is a post-E3 world that we are now in, as far as the big reveals, the big gameplay. That's a fun word. Gameplay. Somebody broke it down, and I don't know who it was, and I don't even know if it was accurate. Probably was. You know, I don't do the maths, but somebody broke it down and added up all the hours of press conferences that we got.
Yeah.
All the hours of press conferences that were shown. And then added up how much gameplay was shown.
Mm-hmm.
It was absurd.
A bad ratio, huh?
We're talking, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna be very arbitrary with my numbers here, but it is akin to something in this regard. 6 hours of conferences,
40 minutes,
25 minutes of gameplay. I mean, it's low.
Oh.
It is staggeringly
worse than I thought. I thought it would be 45
low.
minutes or so, of course.
If I can find that thread, and threads are hard to find again, because I do not know exactly.
So you got to save those.
You do. You really do. And I'm going to do this right now and see if I can do this live while we're doing the show.
But that's pretty much been typical with all these game shows, haven't it? A lot of pomp and flash, and concerts and things like that, but the actual meat, the thing you're there for, very small.
Very.
Yeah.
Very, very small. Let me see if I can find this real quick, because it was a rather lengthy thread, but boy, it's going to be forever to try and find this damn thing. I'm going to keep looking for it while we talk about it, and I'll bring it back up. I didn't mean to start off this way, but yeah, maybe I could refine my search and see if I could find this thing. It's going to be forever. Yeah. These are. I'm looking at posts. I need to refine it. E3 gameplay and see if this changes my stuff. It's going to take forever.
Yep.
It's going to take forever for me to find this.
Yeah, like I said, it is typical. Not a lot of the stuff that you're looking for are going to be there.
It's not, and I hate this, and I hate doing this, but God, it was really, really, I should have, been like, ooh, I need to remember that, but I had no idea that I was going to be talking about this.
How long is E3? 4 days? Or 3?
E3 proper is 3 days. It is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then E3 is over with. Yeah. E3 for most of us at home and stuff starts on it starts Saturday, Sunday, prior to that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I mentioned. We talked about EA Play last week,
right?
Because they had shown something on Saturday, and then we got some stuff on Sunday. In fact, EA was the one that provided the majority of gameplay by that Star Wars Jedi something Fallen thing.
Fallen Order?
Order, yes. They were the ones that showed off more gameplay, obviously, than anybody else did. And I'm determined to find this thing. So I will keep looking and see what I can find. But it was it was their game, which is odd because you don't really expect that. There we go. I found it.
Okay.
I found it. It wasn't really math, actually. It was, the subject title in this is, we had more than 6 hours worth of E3 conferences in 3 days, and only 3 gameplay demos were shown during all 5 shows. That's, so it wasn't really the math on that. But I would probably say you probably got 6 hours worth of conferences, about 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay. That's it. EA had the Star Wars Jedi gameplay we talked about.
Right.
Ubisoft had the Watch Dogs Legion demo that we got to see, and then Square Enix, which I've only now learned that's how you pronounce it. I've always called them Enix, Square Enix, Squeenix.
I've only ever heard Square Enix.
I've only ever heard Enix as well. But watching their press conference on online, the announcer voice who was, and now president of Square Enix Software is, and they would come out. And I thought, well, that has to be how you pronounce it. They couldn't have this whoever it was, I don't know if it was a woman or a man, they couldn't have this person announcing these people and pronounce the company wrong.
We still will.
Multiple times.
We still will.
Although I'm sure those were pre-recorded. But you would hear those before you go on and say, wait, they got the name wrong. Fix it. It's Enix. No, or it's Enix, not Enix, but it's Enix.
So we're going to say Squenix now?
No, I'll still call them Squeenix when I do, just because it sounds funny. Sounds like when your stomach hurts or something. I got a squeen. Oh, it's Squeenix. You look Squeenix.
Yep. That's close enough to the actual word.
Square
actually.
Enix.
Yeah.
They had the Final Fantasy VII remake demo.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Bethesda had 0 gameplay demos in their conferences. Although they say here Doom Eternal and Ori both had a trailer with some gameplay. So maybe there's that. Vast majority of games were shown through CGI stuff. Even already released and announced games were still shown with a trailer.
So not actual gameplay, just a intro.
We had 0 big new IPs being announced with gameplay. Elden Ring, Deathloop, Ghostwire, Gods and Monsters, Outriders, those were all CG, no gameplay with those. Even stuff that people were sure we would get gameplay from, like Halo Infinite, Gears of War 5, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
They say we got a 15-second gameplay glimpse. And then Avengers, all presented with CG. This does not incorporate Nintendo's press conference on Tuesday. This took in the 3 days being Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. This did not take into account what Nintendo did. Which, honestly, what Nintendo did, they blew it out of the water, honestly, for me. As you do a presentation or whatever you're going to do, your E3 stuff, Nintendo just
stole the show.
Yeah.
They stole the whole thing.
Completely. With 40 minutes. That was it. 40 minutes. And they said everything they needed to say, showed everything that they needed to show. Sure, there were things we wanted to hear about. And they sort of left that in just saying, we're still working on things that we've already told you about, but we're still working on those. But I don't necessarily know that I had much interest in some of the things they showed. I know there's a lot of talk of some of the things they showed. Some of that stuff does not interest me. But I felt good about it being there because I know, while I do not play some games, I know where they stand in the echelon of gamers, I suppose. Like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'll never play that. I never played the first one. I tried playing the first one, but that game mechanic and style and everything else does not appeal to me. So I'm not going to play it. But I know where it sits. I know where that game sits.
Yeah.
Shenmue 3. I know where that game sits. I'm never going to play it. I tried like hell to play Shenmue 2, and I got bored.
So you're kind of like me in the terms of, well, not Final Fantasy in particular, but the JRPG style of gameplay. I gave it a legitimate shot, but it just wasn't for me.
It's not. But I get where it sits. You know, I understand where it sits among gamers. I understand where it sits in gamers' minds, and in some cases where it sits in gamers' pasts. Because that's where Final Fantasy VII sits. That's where what is it? Secrets of Mana, Trials of Mana, I guess, or whatever it is that Nintendo announced. I understand where those sit in people's minds.
Yeah.
So while I may not play those games, and I may not be excited for me to play them because I'm not going to, I also understand how many people just completely were losing themselves over what Nintendo was doing and announcing and everything else.
Yeah, you hit the nostalgia bug, right?
Maybe nostalgia bug. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say nostalgia bug. I would say, in some cases of Nintendo, I would say, oh, they're releasing this and these in a collection for the Switch, where I can take them on the go and I can do this with them. The Secrets of Mana or Mana, whatever it is, I know that's a thing, but the other games that were in that collection, and this is a lot of the reason why I sent out a tweet earlier today asking for people to call in and give us their experiences with E3, what they thought, that sort of thing. And I'll read some of these in the chat room here in just a little bit as well. But was for the fact that I ain't too up on my Japanese RPGs or whatever those are where Secrets falls into, Chrono Trigger, things like that. I don't know where. My brain ain't. Never played them. Again, I know their importance, but I don't play the game, so I don't know. Also, we have no Matt here, as you can tell, so I'm going to have to answer phones blindly, and we can go to them now and say, hi, you're on In-Game Chat. Who's this?
It's me, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
What's up, man?
So y'all are enjoying the E3 and all, too, huh?
I say enjoy it. I mean, yeah, of course. I wasn't Mr. Grumpy Pants or Mr. I'm going to crap on all of this. Everything's bad. Everything is awful. I didn't sit there and think that. I looked at the stuff and I wished that we had more gameplay on a lot of titles. Not that, and we talked about this in our little chat room while watching the show. CD Projekt Red doesn't need to sell me on Cyberpunk 2077. There is no need to. CD Projekt Red didn't need to put Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk 2077, even though they did. But they didn't need to. I was already sold on the game. I didn't need to see gameplay. I didn't need to see anything. What I'd like was a date, and we got that. We got a release date. But that will likely get pushed. I don't know. It's a little soon for me to think that a game that is announced in the first weeks of June for a April 2020 release date will stick to that in the next, 10 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
Things change, and they might change, so it's fine. I was hoping for a date that was November 2019. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Feel a little bit more confident about that, but whatever. So we're talking about it. How did you like it?
Well, I mostly like the Square Enix and the Nintendo, the role-playing.
Oh, of course you did. You enjoyed the stuff that we were just talking about because we had no idea what we were talking about.
Yeah, but even though they wouldn't play, they're not interested. But they have a long history and a big fan base, and I'm saying, any people work out Nintendo and everything. Thank God you finally did it. We got Secret of Mana 2 or Second Densetsu 3 officially translated and brought over since, because that one came out originally in 1995 in Japan. I mean, fans been waiting on that one forever. But of course, like I do, and many others have played fan translated versions of the game to see what's going on. But and then we're also getting a remake of that third one as well. So, yay Nintendo! Like you said, they blew it out of the water.
Right. I agree that they did. They didn't blow it out of the water for me as something that there was a lot that I wanted to play, but I honestly feel like their presentation, their lineup, what they showed off, went a lot better than what any of the other companies did. Showed gameplay. Rarely was there any sort of no gameplay trailer involved with what they showed off. And I'd have to go back, and I've got a whole list of everything that was shown at every press conference, so I could actually go back and see what we all got. But compared to everything else, there was just Here's a game, here's a game, here's a game. We're not here to talk about anything. Here's a game, here's a game, here's a game. Oh, here's our new guy taking Reggie's spot. Here's more games, more games, more games. Here's release dates. Here's stuff that's out now. Here's stuff that's coming out later this month. Here is all this stuff. Whereas you go over to something like Microsoft, Ubisoft, Bethesda even, it is, here's a game not coming out for over a year. Crowd reaction. Here's a developer to talk to you about a game that's not coming out for over a year. Okay, go back. Here's more video of this game that is not coming out for over a year. And by the way, no gameplay, just CGI stuff. So you have no idea how that's going to play or what it's going to look like to play it. All you get is CG stuff. So in that regard, maybe I was a little bit, maybe I had my salty pants on, I guess. I don't know. In that sense. Not really salty over that. I really wasn't. I was just like, oh, well, okay. I'm glad this is coming out next year. But this does not give me any indication of what I'm going to do with it when it's released. So there was that. And then Ubisoft did the same thing, actually, with the exception of showing off the Watch Dogs gameplay. But I don't know that I have any interest in Watch Dogs.
I mean, that was probably the most interesting looking one I might like to play. All the other ones, yeah, I don't really care for. Don't care.
Right, here's Ghost Recon. Here's a celebrity to talk about Ghost Recon. Here's an actor to read a script about Ghost Recon. With his dog, apparently. Just, I don't know, man. It's fine. I don't have a problem, really, with any of it. I mean, it's all well and good. It's just that you go through these years where, I don't know if it's development cycles or, I don't know what the case may be, but it does feel like sometimes you hit these years where, not necessarily there's a lull in gaming, but there's a lull in things to show off. And this kind of felt like a lull in things to show off, because Microsoft showed off really nothing that was coming out this year that I know of. What did Watch Dogs, when is that coming out? Is that next year too?
Not sure. Let's see.
See if you can find Watch Dogs. It's Watch Dogs Legion, by the way.
I can't remember either.
I mean, you can probably find it under Watch Dogs 3.
It says March 6th of 2020.
Yeah, okay, next year as well. Goodness, we're on a roll. By the way, and I will say this, once it was all said and done, I was like, geez, it's April, May, and March are going to be stacked with titles. None of these announced were like, holiday of next year, holiday of this. It was all coming out in the spring, coming out in the spring, coming out in the spring. So it's going to be a lot of stuff, not only to play, but also to buy. Although I will say in Microsoft's case, they showed off a lot of stuff that was, hey, it's going to be coming to Xbox Game Pass. So if you're paying your little subscription fee, you'll be able to play it without actually going out and buying the game. So a lot of that was nice. Here we're going to talk about the Games Pass as well. So yeah, you like Nintendo and you liked Square Enix, apparently, by the way. Square.
I've been calling it Enix.
I've called it Enix forever until somebody else had to say Enix, and I thought, no, why?
I think all the fans of it have been calling it Enix since they were a separate company before they merged with Square.
See, I don't even know, man. I don't know. Maybe they did. I do remember a time when Square was just Squaresoft. You know what I'm saying? It was not Square Enix. I do remember a time when that existed, but I don't remember Enix by itself.
Yeah, Enix by themselves years ago were Dragon Warrior games. That's the main one I can remember. And then Square was just plain Square, and then it became Squaresoft later on, and then what it is today. Yeah.
But that would have been something that you would have enjoyed, I'm sure. I enjoyed it. I was really, honestly, I was watching Square for the Avengers reveal. That's it. I had no interest in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had no interest in all those Final Fantasy stuff they showed off. But and most of it did kind of bore me, but I also knew that there were people eating this up, and I was grateful for them. I felt good for them. I felt I was like, this is fantastic. I am so glad.
I was having the time of my life, with, of course, I'm a big Final Fantasy VII fan, and our other friends on our group.
Well, there's also a tactics game as well.
Yeah, there was a tactics game. I'm not a big fan of the tactics games and all, but all the other people were raving about the new remake and all that, and and they don't even know how many parts it's going to be. And this is like the first section of the remake that they're doing, and it's going to be like 2 Blu-rays. It's going to be around 100 gigs just for the first little part in the first little city, supposedly, and they don't even know how much more they're going to have to do to redo the whole story. So, yeah, that one's going to be something else.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you calling in and telling us about it, and I encourage other people to do so as well. Our number is 334-272-9228. And, Chris, thank you for calling, man.
All right. Y'all have a good afternoon.
Take care.
Take care now.
All right.
So, yeah, that was... Again, I know a lot of people who were just overjoyed by what Nintendo and Square had to show off.
Yeah. And I did hear about that episodic thing with Final Fantasy, with the old parts and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. Again, my head wasn't there because I was like, I'm not playing this. I don't know what to do, but there's a lot of people who are happy about this, and that's fine by me. The chat room is going to give you stuff like E3 is pathetic. Watching those press conferences the next 5 years is going to be awful, other than a new Xbox and Cyberpunk 2077. Star Wars looks bad. This is all Lethal Migraine, by the way. There was no point to Square doing a press conference. Remaking every stupid Final Fantasy game isn't worth a presser. CG Avengers looked bad as well. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that.
I heard the stories on that one. My goodness. And I saw pictures like, oh.
Here's the Avengers issue. They borrow... I don't know if this was was it Eidos, I guess, who's making it? I can't remember who it is. Crystal Dynamics is making it. They leaned too hard into film representation, into the movie representation, and maybe that was the whole point. They leaned too hard into that, but couldn't get, obviously, the licenses to represent the actors' faces type of thing. So it comes off as... Hey, look, Iron Man will always look like Iron Man when he's in the suit, right?
Right.
Tony Stark's got to look different. But Iron Man in the suit looks like Iron Man. And in a lot of ways, Captain America can do the same thing. Put everything on, and, you can get a good representation of that and not have to worry about that. But then there's a lot of people who don't wear masks. Hawkeye, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor... You run into those, and Bruce and that sort of thing, Bruce Banner, that sort of stuff, and it gets a little jarring, If you go look at Spider-Man on PS4, right?
Yeah.
They didn't. I don't know exactly if there was mention of the cinematic universe in the game at all. About different things that had happened. I don't think that there was. I think it was completely separate. But they did something where it's like you didn't feel like you were getting sort of a dollar store version of Spider-Man from the films. Their Peter Parker character did not look like Tom Holland, who plays the part. Didn't look like any of them who've done it before.
Didn't look like anybody. Yeah.
But a good thing they put you in the suit half the time, because it doesn't matter what the suit... As long as that looks like Spider-Man, you're good.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So I think they leaned too hard in visual representations of the films up until you got to the faces. So it's kind of not even uncanny valley. It's just weird to look at.
Yeah. Doesn't look like the folks in the movie. Doesn't look like any representation in any comic book you read.
Right, it looks like stunt double theater. Yeah. Is what it looks like. Stunt double theater is exactly what it looked like. And so it looked really bad. AC Wraith says Watch Dogs Legion permadeath beats Cyberpunk Keanu hands down. Depends. I have so much more of an interest in playing Cyberpunk than I do of Watch Dogs Legion. Mainly because I feel like I played Watch Dogs 1, Watch Dogs 2, and now Watch Dogs Legion or whatever. I played Watch Dogs. Maybe not the way that they're incorporating it now, but I feel like I played Watch Dogs. Cyberpunk, I'm not sure of. Again, they haven't shown any gameplay or anything, but Cyberpunk feels fresh enough, feels new enough that it will feel like I'm treading new ground playing that game, and I look forward to that. Remake appears to be totally different mechanisms and styles. Nintendo hasn't mattered since N64, and the media needs to quit pretending otherwise. We're back to Lethal Migraine now. Cyberpunk was announced all the way back in 2012. I can't imagine it would get pushed, but anything. Oh, it's very possible, man. You know this. And I get that it's CG Projekt Red. They're very good. They are older not Bethesda. They are older. Blizzard. They're older Blizzard. Blizzard wouldn't announce a date until they were set in stone. I mean, it was done. They we know we're going to hit that date. Mm-hmm. It is not. We're not budging. But they would take forever to tell you when that date was because they didn't know when it would be.
Right.
So whenever they announced a date, it was set, man. That was It was it.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming out. And so I feel like CD Projekt Red is exactly the same way. They don't want to announce a date until they are absolutely sure that they are going to make that date. And so I feel like they can, but I've been bitten enough by developers or publishers who are like, push it back a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sure it will happen, but I'm also not like, I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah. I'm hopeful for this date, but I'm not surprised if it gets pushed back.
Yeah, AC Red says, Watch Dogs Legion was the only game I had interest in at E3. Cyberpunk was already dead to me as a first-person game, and their handling of the trans issues sure as Frel hasn't helped. I like that he censored himself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got that story in here as well. That's interesting that you bring that up, because the thread I was reading about that, it was odd, because the forum thread about that leaned into a direction of, hey, the excuse or the reasoning, I hate to call it excuse, sounds like somebody made something up to get out from under the bullet fire, mm-hmm. Or the rain down of criticism. But the explanation seemed to appease some of the people who were complaining about it. That was in this thread, and I don't know those people from anybody else. Although the deeper you go into the thread, it kind of normally I can tell. Normally, when something like this is brought up, the wave of the thread goes either one way or the other. It's pretty hardcore in like, yep, this is bad, everybody hates it, or no, that's a completely wrong opinion. Everything's okay. This one was not. This one was very like, I don't like it. Explanation is good enough. This is okay. I don't like it. This is just kind of back and forth on it. So I couldn't really get a beat on like how people really felt about this. I'm not sure of it where I sit on it either. I didn't, when this first came up and they showed the artwork in particular, I didn't even notice the actual thing that was standing out. If you understand what I'm saying, you probably don't. I kept looking at the images and I'm like, I'm really trying to find the problem here. And it wasn't until I diverted my gaze lower that I realized, oh, there's that. Totally did not see it. Totally didn't. My point being is that I don't know that I would have ever caught that in game. There's a lot of things that kind of come up that especially in dealing with artwork and stuff like that on some titles, where until it was pointed out, I'd have never noticed. I'd have really never, ever noticed. It's on me, and that's fine. That's not to say that it shouldn't be a problem, because I didn't notice and it didn't affect me. That is not where I'm standing on this at all. But coming just personally, I had no idea. Never. Are you looking? You're looking it up now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I can tell by your face. You're looking it up now. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I don't even know. I haven't read the story, so I don't even know where this piece of artwork shows up. Is it central to the game? Is it something that was only?
From what it looks like some background image. Like
just looks like an ad.
A subway. That's like an ad on the subway.
Right.
Or something. Something normally you wouldn't even look at or think about.
So I don't even know. I don't even know how prominent it is. And to be clear on that, CD Projekt
You
Red
have to put effort into seeing that.
maybe. Who knows? I don't know how well it was shown off at E3.
Okay.
They could have had a booth at E3 that had this image up there.
I'm just comparing this to other backgrounds I've played in games before, and I'm like, normally I don't even pay attention to this. That's why I said you have to make effort to look at that. Because heck, there's stuff in like Grand Theft Auto I'm still finding years later after the thing came out because I didn't pay attention to. It's like, oh, I never noticed that until now, and the game's been out for years.
Yeah.
So, something you think about.
By the way, let me also add into this: the CD Projekt Red is not. This is not their first offense, and I believe even with just the trans community, this is not the first offense with them. I think they tweeted something not too long ago with Cyberpunk, with their Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter account. I think they did something in that. From what AC Wraith says the community manager had been fired, and I want to say that was the same one. Maybe it was over that. So their history with this is not good. The solution, I don't necessarily. Again, if this is art that has no tie into the video, to the gameplay, like there's not any importance to this, to the story of the game that we're telling and that sort of thing.
The background image.
I don't necessarily know that the solution is, well, then we'll just remove that image. That feels like sweeping it under the rug a little bit. If people find it offensive and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So,
well, what other option is there?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Take it out, or leave it in.
I don't know how loud the controversy is, I suppose. I don't know how bad this looks for them. I really don't. I have no idea. I have not read up on all of it. I read a bit about the explanation that the artist gave, saying that this is a representation of the corporations in that timeline, using that person as a tool to sell whatever the product is, and this is how we're representing that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Please, God, don't take me as quoting what they actually said.
Yeah.
But it's something to look up further for me to, I guess, understand it and know what's being said on each side of that issue, because I don't,
Someone correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm in the chat room, or if you know, because looking at this art, aren't like body mods a part of the as part of the world that this thing is in?
It is, in some way. I have no idea what ways.
Yeah.
I would think that there is, but again, I don't know. It feels a little bit like Deus Ex.
Because body mods are like commonplace.
Yeah.
From what I gathered.
It feels a little Deus Ex.
Yeah.
A bit.
So.
It does not look at all Deus Ex-ish, but it feels a little bit like that from the Human Revolution thing, where you get the different brand new mechanical arm and that sort of stuff. I don't know. So I would rather look into this further before I would actually give any kind of opinion on it. There's one way or the other on it. But I'll just say this: if an entire section of people are offended by that, and they feel, I don't necessarily know if they feel attacked by it, but if they feel
a certain way,
if they feel any certain way in which it is a negative for them, then CD Projekt Red needs to do something about it. Address it. Either stand by it or find a way to make it better. Figure out something. Talk with that community and find out what is going to. I say talk with the community, but really you should know already. You shouldn't talk to them. You should already have that included into your into your business. There's a whole conversation we could have on this.
Yeah.
Probably fit for another show. So I apologize that we're going to move on. I'm way behind on taking a break, by the way.
Oh,
so we need to do that. And then when we come back, we're going to go over more E3 stuff. And hopefully with your phone calls, 334-272-9228. 334-272-9228. One of the games that was announced by Nintendo, luckily I was able to get music for this because I think it comes out next week or it already released. But it's Cadence of Hyrule. It's the Zelda-themed realm of the Necrodancer or something like that. I don't know. It's very beat-specific fighting. You know?
Necrodancer?
I can't remember what it's called.
Something with that Curse of the Necrodancer or something
That's
like
what
that.
it's something like that.
Some cross between Zelda and that rhythm.
Yeah, it's a rhythm fighting. It's a rhythm game, rhythm everything type of game, but it's set in the world of Zelda. So it's Cadence of Hyrule is the name of it. Here's music from that. We're going to go to break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. It's RJ and myself here today. Matt will not be back next week either, so it might be RJ and myself again tomorrow, next weekend as well.
Tomorrow, wait a minute.
Tomorrow? Yeah, no, we're not doing two shows, trust me. I got Destiny to play. But we'll be back next week doing a show, and I don't think Matt will be here. I was going to see if Sarah could come, but I think the same thing Matt is doing next week will be the same thing she's doing, which there's a convention going on up, I think, at Birmingham, that they're both going to be attending, so possibly. This is music, by the way, from Warhammer Chaos Bane. Now, I don't know when this released, but according to the internet and the website I was looking at, it came out this past week, at least on PS4, I believe. It may have already been released on PC, I don't know. But yeah, welcome back to the show. What did you watch any of? Did you watch them all, or did you go back and watch them afterwards? The press conferences and stuff. You didn't watch any of them. Okay. I didn't.
I thought you knew a long time ago. I ain't got the patience for that.
Well, then did you? Then how did you you get
little blips from YouTube clips.
Try and
like
figure out what I'm trying to say. Yeah, how do you know what was said at the press conferences or what was shown off?
I'm looking at the Hangouts that I'm in and the things you put on there.
Oh, okay.
And I go off of that, the little blips. And if anything pops my interest, I'll
Has
go
anything
further.
popped your interest then?
No.
That's really what I wanted to get at was like, did you see anything for you that was like, ooh, I like what I'm seeing there?
No.
Okay. I was surprised to see Witcher 3 on Switch. Switcher 3, as I like to call it.
Switcher 3. Switcher 3. That might be a thing.
I was surprised to see that
along with Stunt Double Theater. That needs to be a thing.
Yeah. Stunt Double Theater, yes. I was surprised to see that only for the fact that Witcher's a big game. And Nintendo...
Oh, it's not going to look nice.
Well, there's that too, the way it's going to look. And but Witcher's a really big game that has... And Nintendo cartridges are kind of really tiny.
So you know things are going to be cut.
Right,
already.
I'm curious
that's
as
the
to...
thing. What exactly is going to be cut from this game if you're going to put it on the Switch console?
I didn't necessarily mind it. I just was like, oh, that's, well, okay. You know, you guys go and play that game then. I'm going to open up everything that was shown off at everybody's stupid press conference so I can tell you exactly, because I can't remember all of it. I can remember some of the highlights. I can tell you this. It is year 6, I believe, without Splinter Cell being announced. I don't exactly know what year it is, but it's been a long time since Splinter... Let's see. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Boy, that is not how you spell Splinter. List.
So Splinter Cell, the new Half-Life for you?
Looks like it was June... Yeah, it was 2012. So, what, 7 years now?
Yeah.
It's been 6 to 7 years now without Splinter Cell being announced. Kind of annoys me. Kind of, it actually does. But at this point, I'm used to it. I'm just used to being disappointed by Ubisoft's press conference of there being no Splinter Cell. I am used to seeing games from Ubisoft that I thought, yeah, I'd like to play that. Do you have Splinter Cell? Nope. That is what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. I'm used to it. I'm also used to building up the hope that maybe it might be this year. Maybe it could be. Maybe there's that little thing at the end that's going to be the thing that I want. Nope. Gods and Monsters. That's what it was this year. Some little cartoony Greek thing. I don't know. Wasn't Splinter Cell.
Yeah, basically something you're not interested in.
There was Sam Fisher on a phone game that they showed off. That doesn't count. They're putting him in everything except his own game again. They put him in Ghost Recon.
I find that happening a lot. A lot of people going to mobile.
Ubisoft will make a character fighter before they make another Splinter Cell, and they'll put Sam Fisher in it. Mm-hmm. They'll have all the characters of Assassin's Creed as a selectable fighter, and all the Far Cry characters as a selectable, and all the Rabbids, and they'll have...
It won't be a fighter. It'll be something like Smash Brothers.
Well, you know, something like that. I understand. No, I'm telling you, it'll be something like that, and they'll throw in Sam Fisher. They'll do all of this before they make another Splinter Cell.
Mm-hmm. You say that in jest, but it probably happened.
I'm saying it enough to where I'm hoping that I'm proved wrong, and it's like, oh, here's Splinter Cell, haha, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to happen. It's just let me point that out to you again. 2012.
Yeah,
2012.
Yeah, the fake scenario you just came up with is more likely than another Splinter Cell at this point.
Blah. All right, I'm looking at Square Enix. The only thing I was interested in seeing there, Square Enix. The only thing I was interested in seeing there was Avengers. That looked interesting. I'm not ready to discount it because again, when you read comic books, you get different styles of characters. I've seen so many different.
Oh, there's tons of different art styles of every character.
Exactly, right?
Tons of them.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's okay. And honestly, if they had gone more with that, it would have looked that way. But the costumes and the outfits of what people were wearing who don't have a mask over their face was too closely stylized to the films.
Yeah.
And that's why it was such a throw-off to see these not these people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
The voices didn't. I didn't even care about the voices. The voices didn't matter. But the look of the and maybe it would have. Maybe if they even got the likenesses, but they couldn't get the voices,
Mm-hmm.
and then you started hearing other people's voices coming out of what does not at all sound like what that person's voice sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would have been just as jarring. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thought.
If the visual cue of looking at this character, you see movie Black Widow,
Mm-hmm.
and then you hear someone's other than Scarlett Johansson, you're like, wait a minute, what happened here?
Yeah, because you don't see her. It would have, because you see her face all the time, and the whole costume was like, that's from the movie.
That's the costume from the movie.
Captain America's costume, that's from the film.
Yeah.
Thor's from the film. Hulk is whatever. But, and Iron Man, again, he can look like Iron Man. It's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was the only thing I had with that. There was no gameplay. I think there was a little tag at the end of the trailer that showed Ant-Man, but it wasn't Scott, it was Hank.
Mm-hmm.
Again, looked... Well, on that one, it's fine, because they're using a completely different person.
Yeah.
So, whatever. That didn't matter to me as much. There was no Hawkeye. They didn't have Hawkeye. Apparently, it's going to have more characters added to it as the game goes through not only development, but after release. They'll have characters that come and go.
Right.
So, I don't know. We'll see. That was the only thing I was interested in there. I'm sorry I'm skipping over these, but honestly, for Square, that was the only thing I was interested in seeing, and that's what I saw. I know other people are like, but what about the Final Fantasy stuff? Call in and tell us, 334-272-9228, because it did not put a blip on my radar of interest. And this is not the Scott Show. But unfortunately... That's all. I can't really say one way or the other if what I saw for Final Fantasy VII looked any good because I didn't play the original. Mm-hmm. So I can't say looking at that of like I like how they did this and this compared to what was in the original. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they talked a whole lot during their fighting. There was a lot of chit chat during the fight sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to Ubisoft. We didn't see, Ubisoft did not show off Beyond Good and Evil, which they had teased a year ago.
A while ago.
Yeah. Nothing from that, which I thought was interesting. Watch Dogs Legion was shown off. I like the idea. I like the concept, the whole permadeath, play as any character type thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking, there we go. See? I'm going to put you on hold and get to you here in just a second. Where was my thought now? The Watch Dogs Legion. First thing I said in the room when the guy came out and said, you can be anybody in the game. All NPC players are available to you to pick. And I said, what about the bad guys? Can we pick a bad guy? Can we somehow take control of one of the guys that we're fighting against? Or is that, again, I don't know the concept of it. I don't know the reason that we can't do it at some point. Mm-hmm. But from what I read, that eventually is an option. I don't know if it's an option right out at the beginning of the game or what the case may be, but it's an option. My point being is that why not take, if you're in a firefight with, if you're in a fight with the bad guys, why not take control, let your character get killed, take control of one of the bad guys, let him get killed, take control of the other one, let him get, basically.
You're hacking people?
Yes. And you're just... Obviously, there's got to be a game mechanic that allows you to not do that because that seems kind of dumb.
I hear that and I think of Prototype.
Maybe. Yeah. Let's go to the phones here. But I will say that there was somebody who got some gameplay time said that they were eventually able to take control of one of the bad guys and pull him into your side to fight for you and just sort of switch his mindset around. So, whatever.
Okay.
Hi, you're on In-Game Chat. Who's this?
Oh, I thought this was a Scott show.
Yeah, right? I hate that, man. I mean, I can't play everything. And Lethal Migraine's going to chime in with being like, yeah, but you can play that one crap game you always play, which is Destiny 2. I know, yes. But I can't play everything, and there's a lot of things that I just don't have any interest in. But for a lot of people, those are really good things. So, just not me. What about you?
I'm like I like to play Watch Dogs and I forget the name of it. It's been a long time since I played it, but the kind of like the Grand Theft Auto. But there was a one where like you're the Hong Kong police undercover guy.
Oh, Sleeping Dogs.
Yes, I love that
Dogs.
game.
Yeah.
And I wanted another one to come out.
Who was that?
Apparently.
Was that Square?
I think it was.
Squeenix? I think that was Square Enix. That's another one they really need to revisit. I don't know what to say. I don't need revisit. I don't mean remaster. I think they need to go back into that world and bring us another one.
Yeah, it was awesome because some of the downloadable content. I'm not as smart as all you guys. I'm an older guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the DLCs for that they had were pretty awesome. You could do some pretty cool stuff.
How old do you think I am?
You're in your 30s, aren't you?
Well, I was last year.
Oh, well, my bad, Jay. I didn't.
No, I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm 40, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know how much older you are.
I'm not that much older than you.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean we're in the same group here.
Yeah. I grew up with the Nintendos and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mario Brothers.
Did you pay attention to E3 at all? Did you watch anything for E3?
What's that?
That's the annual wething they do this year where they announce the new games and stuff.
Oh, no, sir.
Yeah, that happened this past week, which is why we're talking about so much of it.
Okay. Well, I've got two younger kids, 21 and 16, and they tell me about a lot of cool games like the FIFA 19 coming out in the next month or so.
Never been a FIFA guy myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but I wasn't a soccer guy until about 3 years ago, and then
a stalker guy.
Soccer.
Yeah,
soccer guy.
Yeah, soccer.
I thought you said stalker.
I'll enunciate more clearly. I don't need it.
No, that's fine. I thought you said stalk. Well, because there's a game called Stalker.
Oh.
And
yeah,
it's set in Russia, basically around Chernobyl. And yeah. You kind of move around that area. It's radioactive and everything else, and there's all kinds of mutant stuff that you got to kind of play a little stealthy, sneak around, that sort of thing. And so when you said I'm a stalker guy, I thought, oh, hey, that's a great franchise. But no.
Well, I guess I kind of am. I like Metal Gear. I was playing the original Metal Gear on the original console.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great one, man. So
yeah, that was a great series. I liked all that kind of stuff. The Splinter Cell, like I heard you talking about, I was playing when it first came out.
Yeah. I miss my
and
Splinter Cell.
I think they had a version of that for the Cube. I think they did.
GameCube?
Yeah.
They didn't have a version. It was a multi-platform game, and it made its way to when it was releasing, it was like, it'll be out on GameCube, PS4, or PS whatever it was at the time, PS2, Xbox, that sort of thing. So I mean, it was just a multi-platform. They didn't make one specifically for the GameCube.
Okay.
But yeah, good stuff. They haven't gone back into that universe since 2012, which is really annoying to see. What's your name again?
Eric.
Hey, Eric, I appreciate you calling in because we're at the top of the hour. We're going to take our break.
All right, fellas.
Thanks for calling into the Scott Show.
Good.
Take care now.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't want it to be this, but, and feel free, RJ, to chime in anytime you want to.
What, during Man's phone call?
Well, no. I meant about anything that strikes your fancy or whatever it's called. Gods and Monsters was announced at Ubisoft. I don't care.
What E3?
Roller Champions seem kind of cool. There's that roller derby type thing. That looks like that could be kind of a tournament fun thing to do.
Well, it's unique, isn't it? I mean, not a lot of roller derby games out there.
No, there's not. Rainbow Six Quarantine. That was interesting, and that kind of raised an eyebrow on all of ours because it was a 3-player co-op game, like 3-player versus enemy, Not versus... It's not PvP. It's not other players.
3-on-1?
It's just 3 players versus an AI enemy.
Okay.
So 3 people playing co-op versus the AI.
Like Evolve.
Well, like Rainbow Six, honestly.
Okay.
When I remember when me, Matt, James, and I think Kevin, I think it was 4 players at the time, Rainbow Six Vegas was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And that feature was in there with the all you against one person.
That's all the way. That's the only thing it was. It was you played the story in co-op. Mm-hmm. You could play the story in co-op. You could play it by yourself too if you wanted to, but it was you with a squad, and those squad mates could be AI or other people.
Okay.
And you went through Vegas taking out the bad guys. Quarantine, though, has what looks like the elements of Rainbow Six, whatever that new one is. What's it called? I don't remember now. Whatever Rainbow Six is out there right now, the PvP stuff. Looks like it has the elements of that, but in a 3-player cooperative type thing. So that looks good. Just Dance is Elite Squad. That was the phone game. Division 2, Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six. Siege. Rainbow Six Siege is what it's called. For Honor stuff. Some show from the Always Sunny guys.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of those guys is working on a TV comedy about video game development called Mythic Quest: Raven's Banquet. It's going to be on Apple TV Plus. Oh, by the way, speaking of Plus, Ubisoft announced Uplay Plus, a subscription service. I want to talk about that when we come back from our break because I'm way over time here. Let's go to this song, which is from a game called Revengeance. It's currently on Steam. I don't know what it is. It's got a nice little 8-bit soundtrack to it, but it's called Revengeance. So we'll be back with more of In-Game Chat after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. This is music from Contra 3.
Sounds like a boss battle.
It is. It's titled Boss Battle.
Yeah.
This comes from the Contra Anniversary Collection that Nintendo announced would be on the Switch, which I think it's actually not just on the Switch. It's on other platforms as well. But you get, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 Contra games in this one thing, which was kind of cool. So I realized that if I'd played any Contra music, it was probably the original music from that first level. But I thought, I probably haven't played anything from any of the other Contra games, so I found that from Contra 3. Back into everything that was at E3. Before we do that, let's go to the phones and talk to... Hi, you're on In-Game Chat. Who's this?
It's me again.
Hey, Chris.
I can tell you that's the stage with the robot skeleton that got its head cut off on Contra 3. This is crazy how much I know just from music.
Just from the music? Okay.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'll let the phone line be free, but y'all have a good afternoon.
Yeah. Please free up the phone line so many people call it in. It's fine, Chris. We appreciate it, and thank you. Going on to Bethesda's stuff, there was very little gameplay, if any, shown off here, but Ghostwire Tokyo seemed interesting. Go find that trailer and watch it, RJ. You might, I don't know. It was CG.
I saw the thing. People disappearing, sound like the Rapture or something. You had to do with the weapons and whatnot going through doing their thing.
Yeah, it was all CG again, so I have no idea, but it looked interesting.
The only thing I took from that was the internet reaction to the presenter.
The presenter? Yeah, I know.
Internet is weird, man.
That's right. Internet is weird, man.
Also,
they should put that on the box when they sell the internet. Yeah. Internet is weird, man. RJ.
No, but it was Bethesda. This is Bethesda, right?
This is Bethesda.
But was anybody interested in what Bethesda had to say based on what they were doing all throughout this year?
I think they were. It just came out of my mouth. I think that they were interested in. I think people probably interested in Well, no. I'll tell you why people tune into Bethesda. The space game they're working on, which I can't even remember the name of it right now, but they announced it last year, and also Elder Scrolls 6, which they announced last year as well. They had nothing to show for that. But I guarantee you, anybody that went to this or watched it, somewhere in their heads was like, boy, I hope we get some more information from this. I'm not thinking we're gonna, but maybe we were. It's like me watching Square Enix for the Avengers stuff. I'm going to sit through all of this, hopefully to see some Avengers footage, and I did, and I didn't like it. But all they said on those two games was that they're still in development, but we have nothing to show you. Fallout 76 got some announcements and stuff, and they were straight up corporate about Fallout 76. You know?
Yeah.
They were straight up like, we're not going to talk about how bad this thing was received or whatever. There was some hints at it by the fact that they're now. First off, Fallout 76 looks like it's taking a backwards approach to things. They started as like all multiplayer. It's an open world MMO thing where every person you meet is another player type situation. And now they're adding NPCs and quest lines, and I'm like, well, so you're building this game in reverse? Normally, you set all that stuff up and then bring in the multiplayer aspect later down the road. But you started at multiplayer. Now you're bringing in the single story player stuff aspects of the game with NPCs. Okay, I think eventually down the line, from what they're doing, Fallout 76 might be worth picking up as a single player game. Because they will have NPCs and stories. I really don't know.
Is it because not enough people were playing it multiplayer that they went that route? I started adding these NPCs and things to get more interest, garner more interest in the game.
I'm not I don't know. I really haven't. My radar has not been on Fallout 76.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I looked at it and it looked
other than not hearing really good things about it. I've heard some good things. I think Leonard, who calls in on the morning show, and also. We've met him plenty of times here. Yeah. I think he's a huge fan of Fallout 76. Okay.
Yeah, I know some people who would like 76 as well. But my opinion was just, I'm going to hang back a bit and see how this turns out.
But I don't know a lot of people like him who enjoyed Fallout 76.
There's some.
Obviously there are. The thing's still afloat, and they're still making content for it. So there's obviously people out there who have bought it, are playing it, and are enjoying it, and they're putting in the feedback and everything because they're working on more stuff for it. But... again, this falls under Scott's show. I didn't play it, so I didn't really kind of pay attention to much about it. Deathloop was another game they announced at Bethesda, which it was from the Arcane guys who worked on Dishonored. But as to read the description here, it's about playing the way you want to play, but it seems the story revolves around time loops. We didn't really get much but other than a trailer. Doom Eternal was the other thing. That comes out this year. It's a lot of Doom, but Doom Eternal comes out later on this year in November. Seems like a better sequel. If it's a sequel, I don't know that it is, but it seems like it's better than what we got from Wolf when Wolfenstein released New Colossus and stuff. It was like, not very good. Yeah. Fallout 76 is getting a new free update that will add NPCs, which we talked about. It's also getting a Battle Royale mode because why not? Elder Scrolls Blades is coming to Switch. Elder Scrolls Online is getting more content. Commander Keen is another one they're bringing back as a 2D side-scroller. They got some Rage 2 with a new expansion. And then they're also doing an online game streaming thing called Orion. It's software developed by id and implemented at the game engine level. It lets games stream with much lower latency. It's supposed to help players stream games at max settings even if all your bandwidth is being used or if you live far away from a data center. But you can test it out by joining
let's see how that's going to work.
One of their things. I don't know. Let's go with everything Nintendo announced, which was a lot of good stuff. First off, I was surprised to see that they're actually working on a sequel to Breath of the Wild. They announced that game was in development, that a Breath of the Wild sequel was in development. It doesn't seem like that's too soon. It also seems like it's very far out before we see anything or told anything about this. But and of course they would do another Zelda game. I didn't know that they would make a sequel. Zelda the Zelda games were never one to do sequels, and I say that knowing that there is Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, and there is I think there's another Zelda that has 2 in the title of some sort, and I can't remember. But Zelda seems to be much more of an anthology type situation where it's like, here's a brand new story every time we do one.
Yeah.
Feels Final Fantasy-ish, but within the same universe. So to make a direct sequel for Breath of the Wild is a huge, huge playground to put, that they put in a game.
Yeah.
Big open world.
Yeah.
So I can see easily why they would do that. Like, okay, this is a huge open world game. Let's do more with this. Instead of building another world, let's just take the one we've got and let's do more with it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's their thought. I really don't know. They added Banjo-Kazooie and Dragon's Quest Hero into Smash Ultimate. In fact, we've got the stage music from Banjo-Kazooie stage in Smash coming up in just a bit. Animal Crossing New Horizon for Switch has been delayed to March of 2020. Oh, good. Another spring game in 2020. Because that thing is full of games. It has got a lot of games for early 2020 announced. The Switch remake of Link's Awakening is going to be on September the 20th. That actually looks fun, and I never played the original Link's Awakening, so playing the Switch version will be cool. It's something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Cadence of Hyrule, available, released earlier this week. We had the music for that. Luigi's Mansion 3 announced. Demon Ex Machina is coming out on September 13th. No More Heroes 3 is in development and will arrive next year. We talked about that. Trials of Mana. Dragon's Quest, was that 11S Definitive Edition? Witcher 3, Resident Evil 5 and 6, Contra Rogue Core. Panzer Dragoon is coming to Switch. That was interesting. The Dark Crystal series is getting a tactics game. I've never played a tactics game, but if you're going to put anything from Jim Henson into it, I will play it and see how it goes. Empire of Sin was a game from John Romero. Seems very 1930s gangster type inspired. I'm not sure. And there were a couple of other things announced, but Nintendo had a great showing at E3, honestly. Nintendo had a fantastic showing at E3. And Microsoft. Microsoft showed off a lot of stuff. They talked about Project Scarlet, which is a long way away. But when they talked about Project, this is the part I love. When Microsoft, and maybe even when Sony does it, I don't know, but Microsoft is big on this. When Microsoft gets people to talk about a new console, like they get their, I don't know who they pick for these, to talk about these. I would say they're the people working on this, but I'm also not so certain about that. Unless they're like studio heads and not like the real grunts who are working on stuff like this.
Right.
But when they get people to talk about this, they frame it in such a way like they're revealing this new thing that nobody's ever seen before. And in fact, one of them actually says, you're looking at frame rates of 122 or 120 frames per second. We've never seen that. Explicative. Yes, we have. People have all over the place.
Yeah.
This is, what are you talking? We've never seen that before. No, you shut up.
What if you said you have never seen 120 come from a console before, or something like that?
Would that
have been better?
Maybe, I don't know. But
the fact that you just say you have never seen 120 frames per
We've
second
never
before.
seen that before in game. Or maybe, I can't remember exactly what the word was, but good Lord. It was just horrible to hear. I say it was horrible. It was funny to hear. Honestly, it was kind of laughable to hear them talk this up in a way as though they were they were completely inventing a better looking console.
Yeah.
And I was like,
How about the crowd reaction? As the moment those words came out,
you don't know because they didn't have the crowd. They didn't have the crowd mic'd or anything.
Oh.
Not during that reveal.
I bet there was probably some colorful comments.
Yeah, I would say they're probably honestly those. I'll tell you this: the crowds at Microsoft stuff, they're kind of bland. They really the reactions are very typical. Now the Bethesda folks, that was borderline obnoxious. Watching Bethesda's and listening to the crowd reactions, I'm grateful that the crowd's in it, but I'm almost completely positive that 95% of the crowd reactions from Bethesda were the employees. Every time their project came up on screen, they screamed and yelled and this is the best and the greatest and that sort of thing. Which that's fine. Be proud about what you've worked on. Go for it. That's totally fine. But it felt like a company party more than it felt like a thing open to the general public.
General public, yeah.
They were loud, and it was, like I said, borderline obnoxious at Bethesda. But when they're talking about Project, I don't know, the things that they were talking about just seemed... they used a lot of buzzwordy type stuff to make it sound like some grand thing that... If you have a decent PC already exists today, and I don't want to be the PC versus console type of thing. I really don't want to get into that. But Microsoft, do yourself a favor and rewrite your scripts next time you want to talk about your new console. And use some again, it's to sell you on the thing.
Yeah, I mean, look,
find a different way to present that.
Look, for me, man, it's always been for me for consoles or anything of that nature. Look, don't tell me about the specs of the console. What games you got on it? So specs and things is not going to impress me at all. Okay?
Well, they did say that Halo Infinite will be releasing with that console. It'll launch alongside that console. It's supposed to be looking at holiday season of 2020, so next holiday season for the release. We'll get a lot more information of that at next year's E3. We talked about Cyberpunk 2077. The Double Fine was bought by Xbox Studios. Okay, good luck, Tim Schafer, and reining in his whatever to make games for your company. Showed off the Gears 5. No gameplay, just showed off a trailer. That's coming out September 10th, and they had no gameplay to show for it. It is Gears. I will give them that. It's Gears. We know how Gears plays. I don't think we needed to see gameplay for that.
I see it pushed back.
Huh?
You said September?
September 10th is when it releases, yeah.
No gameplay.
They showed no gameplay, no. But again, I'm not, it's Gears, man. It's Gears. We know how Gears plays. We're 5 games deep. We know how this game plays. We know how Gears works. Brand new Elite controller. I am not paying $150 for that controller.
It's a fight stick.
That thing is really... Look, Matt's got one. Matt's got an Elite controller. Those things are... I messed around with one at a PAX or an E3. Those things are really awesome. They're not $150 awesome for me to spend. I don't need a controller that does all of that, but they're really, really awesome. I like gadgets and things like that, and that's a hell of a gadget to have. Really, really cool. But it's $150.
What's the standout feature of it?
Oh God, it is customizable to no end. You can
controller,
you can tweak the tension of the stick.
Yeah.
You can map things on the controller itself to different sort of there's buttons galore on the thing.
Okay, so it's a fully customizable controller.
Oh yeah,
like one of those SCUD controllers or whatever.
Yeah, massively customizable.
Analog sticks, are they metal or still plastic?
Oh, I was wrong. It's $250. I was completely wrong. $150, I think, is for Series 1 that's out now. $250 for Series 2. Again, that doesn't help matters at all.
That's a better fight stick.
Yeah, I was going to say, you throw out $250, that's not going to be like, oh, it's $250? Yeah, I'll take 3. No. Oh, no, it's... Come on, Lethal. Give me the right thing. It's $180.
High.
that doesn't change anything.
Still high.
That's still not going to be like, oh, it's only 180. That's fine.
So, like I said, are the analog sticks metal or plastic?
I think you have options. You can. The thing comes with like a whole toolbox of different things you can put into the controller.
Okay.
Look at the trailer. Find it. I mean, the controller has an in-depth trailer about it. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would say that. Well, your guys, your tournament fighters, they can use fight sticks all the time.
Fight sticks. Yeah, you see them prices, I'm thinking fight sticks already.
Yeah, they'll be doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as controllers go, that's really, really neat. I mean, again, I'm a guy that really likes gadgety stuff, and I kind of want one of these. I just, it's not, first time I don't play enough to really warrant one of those, and $180. So... let's see. They announced the Elden Ring, Tales of Arise. These are all the Bandai Namco leaks that we got previous. Mm-hmm. Battletoads was announced as well. A new one, 2D, 3-player couch co-op side-scrolling brawler. We played Battletoads music right there before we even started the show. Flight Sim is coming back. That was nice to see. That was wonderful. It got no reaction whatsoever from the crowd. After it was over with, or at least nothing like what other games have been getting. Mm-hmm. But I was so glad to see Flight Simulator back. That kind of warmed my little heart. Because I love my flight sims. Actually, it was Flight Simulator X, which released, feels like 10 years ago. It was the last time I played one. So, really, really good to see them. What did we see else? Bleeding Edge from Ninja Theory. First-person action combat multiplayer game from Ninja Theory. CG or whatever. No gameplay trailer, basically.
Right.
Minecraft Dungeons was interesting. It's basically Diablo-craft. That, I was like, hey, I'd play Minecraft again. Doing some dungeon stuff. That's really cool. Coming out in spring of 2020 again. The Blair Witch game was a surprise. That comes out August 30th. But it was, watching the gameplay, it felt very Alan Wake-ish. It had this Alan Wake look to it. Mm-hmm. When it was revealed to be Blair Witch, I was still like, okay. I'm surprised that is a property that's still got some life left in it to make a video game based on it. Don't really know much. Again, didn't see gameplay. So I'm not sure. We may have seen some. It wasn't really identified as that, but we may. I don't know. Forza Horizon 4 is getting a Lego DLC. All the cars are made of Legos. All the areas are made of Legos. That's an interesting thing. Nice little sort of...
Lego's popular enough to get some everything.
It is, yeah. They also announced the Xbox Game Pass, the ultimate... Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is what it was. This is another subscription service. I don't necessarily mind it like I do Ubi's subscription service. Ubisoft subscription service is, I think, $15 a month, maybe. It may be $10 a month. 15 or 10 a month. EA has a subscription service. Ubisoft is having a subscription service. Microsoft has a subscription service. Is there more? That's 3 right there, where you can play a lot of their games only for a monthly fee. It's getting a little... I don't necessarily like that. But I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's am I going to pay for it or not? Yeah. That's where my decision falls. You can have it. I don't care. I'm probably not going to buy it. Yeah. Ubisoft is $15 a month and only on PC. That's okay. It's amazing how much that I'm paying in subscription services now. It seems like life is moving into a subscription service. I'm not kidding. I mean, well, obviously we do. We pay, it's utilities. I pay per month on my water bills and my electricity, and now I'm paying per month on my entertainment. I'm paying per month for like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that, and now I'm paying $15 a month for Xbox Game Pass. I was paying a yearly subscription for Xbox Live Gold and PS Plus and life is a subscription, basically. Boy, you better not be late paying those bills. So, I don't know. Ubisoft doesn't have a library to me that warrants a subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
EA sort of does. They've got a lot of companies under their belt. They've got a bunch of developers under their belt to play a lot of those games. Microsoft certainly does. I do want to talk about that Ultimate Game Pass, but we have to go to a break. We'll be right back with more of In-Game Chat here in just a moment. Music now from, this is again, like I said, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Announced a Banjo-Kazooie character added to the game. There's a level. They used music from it, and this is the music from that stage. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. If you're wondering what this music is,
I am.
I know this music reminds me that we didn't talk about one of the press conferences. This music is from Hotline Milwaukee.
Oh yeah,
this is from Devolver. It's the ripoff to Hotline Miami.
Yeah, the parody game.
Yeah, called Hotline Milwaukee.
What was it called? Devolver Bootleg?
Devolver Bootleg, yeah. It's $5 on Steam. It gives you access to games like Enter the Gun Dungeon, because there's a game called Enter the Gungeon. Yeah. So they've got Gun Dungeon, Hotline Miami. This one's called Hotline Milwaukee because it's a crap spinoff type thing.
Let's see.
There's a lot of stuff like that, and so that's where that music comes from.
Trying to look at the names of these things.
There's a lot of games in there, but they're all rip-off type stuff.
Enter the Gun Dungeon, parody of Enter the Gungeon. Hotline Milwaukee, parody of Hotline Miami. Ape Out Jr.,
which is a parody of Ape Out, yes.
Shooty Bots, which are parody of Downwell. Super Absolver Mini Turbo Fighting Championship.
It's Absolver.
Parody of Absolver.
Yeah.
Cat Sylvania, parodying Gato Roboto.
Sylvania.
Yeah. Piku Biku Ball Stars. It's a parody of Piku Niku.
Okay.
Yeah. Luftrausers.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. They're just all like really these bootleg. It's called Devolver Bootleg. It's just bootleg versions of their games. And so I found music from Hotline Milwaukee. Thought I'd play it. We didn't talk about Devolver. They usually
steal the show.
They steal the show. It's all like right now. It's turned into, and it's fine. It's turned into this common like thread, this story, this whole thing. Like eventually, we're going to get the entire saga on Blu-ray at some point. Nothing but Devolver press conferences down the line to see Nina's story from start to finish.
Yeah.
It was great the first year they did it because it was completely unexpected. And so now it's like, okay, what do you got for us this year? And then there was this year and that sort of thing. It's still good. Nothing tops that first year, though. Nothing really tops that first. God, that was so good.
Which E3 was this one? E3 20... Which one was this first one? The 20 what year?
Well, this was the third one.
Okay,
so you got to go back. Last year was the sequel.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to go back 2 years ago to when they first did it, and it was really just felt like a parody of all those press conferences, an over exaggerated parody of those things, but kind of nailed it a little bit.
Yeah.
With what they were doing. So good on Devolver. But in all seriousness, I really feel like Nintendo was the one that really shined as far as what these big companies do. I think Nintendo pulled that one out. Subscription services is what we were talking about before we went to break. And we talked about, so I'm not, I've sort of been reluctant to mention this because I wasn't sure, did I actually save money or not? I don't know. There was a little thing that you could do. So I'm an Xbox Live Gold subscriber. I'm not a Game Pass subscriber. But the Ultimate Game Pass gives you Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass, both PC and Xbox, for $15 a month. I pay Xbox Live Gold. I pay $60 a year. I think that's what it is.
Right.
And mine always converts in November because that's exactly, I signed up in November way back in 2003, I think it was, when Xbox Live originally started. And that's when I signed up for it, and so it always hits every November. I always have to pay. Game Pass Ultimate, though, is $15 a month. Usually, I think Xbox Live Gold is $15 a month, I think, when you buy it. What's the monthly price on Let me look at this.
Just
Xbox Live Gold.
I thought it was yearly.
No, you can pay by the month. 1 month price. If Microsoft's Xbox Live Gold service is required to play multiplayer games, a subscription costs $10 per month or $60 per year. So it was $10 a month. But with Game Pass, with Ultimate Game Pass, you get that plus Game Pass for an extra $5, so it's $15 a month. Anyway, they had this promotion going on where you could upgrade your existing Xbox Live Gold to Game Pass Ultimate for $1. And it would do some sort of conversion on how it all would apply.
Yeah.
Well, they found out this way that you could maximize your savings on this. And it was to extend your Xbox Live Gold and maybe Game Pass as well. I don't know. I only had Gold. But to extend your Xbox Live Gold pass to as close to June 10th, 2020 as you could get it without going over. If you went over, it kind of nixed it because it could only do so many months in advance.
Right.
So get it as close as you could. So I bought 2 more years of Xbox Live Gold at a discount. I went to CD Keys and got them. I think they were $50 each. So I bought 2 more years of that. So I spent $100. Each time I activated that, it gave me 1 month free on top of that. So not only was I was getting a year and a month each time I did that. So I got 12, 24, 25, 26. So I got 26 months on that. And then I had to buy 3 more months of Gold for, I think, $13. I can't remember what it was. It was maybe it was 30. Yeah. 3 months of Gold for like $30. That also added an extra month, so I got another 4 months. So I got myself all the way up to May 24th or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was as close as I could go, and like, okay, that's as far as I can get without going over. Then I upgraded to Xbox Live Game Pass Ultimate, whatever it is, for $1. My subscription now doesn't renew until June something of 2022. If I had upgraded to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, I would have had to have paid $15 a month starting at some point. Let's just say starting in November, I'd have had to pay Xbox Live Gold or Xbox Live Ultimate once a month starting in November.
Right.
I added up all of that. $15 for ever how many months that is. From here until 2022, it came out to be about $450.
Wow.
I only spent, to upgrade this, I only spent $130.
Yeah.
$130, save myself $450. If you wanted to go that way. If you didn't have to go that way, then you just be buying Xbox Live Gold every year.
Yeah.
But doing this, I now have access to Game Pass Ultimate on my Xbox and my PC once I put Windows 10 on this thing. I now have that until 2022.
Yeah.
I saved about $300-something.
Yeah.
If that was the case at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
More simply, it's like a buddy of mine who does PlayStation Plus. He got his whenever those yearly subscription things drop,
Yeah.
the price drops, he just stacks up on them, starts adding them to his account. But he says you can only go so far. It doesn't let you go past a certain point. You can like stack all these years, in his account. It like goes up to a point and it like stops for some reason.
Yeah. No, it was great.
Yeah. Good saving.
I wasn't sure it was going to work, and I was a little bit nervous about it, but the more I kept reading about it, and everybody had this really, like, hold your hand through the process of, like, here's what you do to get these savings. So don't go beyond this point. And so I took advantage of it.
Yeah. It's a good deal, man.
That was fantastic. But now I need to put Windows 10 on this machine. It's Windows 7 right now, and I'll tell you why. It's got one program on there that I use for work that apparently couldn't move on over to Windows 10. And that's the reason. Yeah. However, that has been switched over. I can now actually do the upgrade. I just haven't taken the time to do that. And plus, everybody that I talk to says, don't do a fresh install. Don't upgrade from 7 to 10 through their upgrade path. Just do a fresh install and put 10 on there, because apparently you will screw things up if you do it that way. So I'm gonna have to get around to doing that, but eventually I will, and I'll have access to that on the PC as well as the Xbox. I looked at my Xbox library last night just to see all the games that I have accessible to me through Xbox Game Pass. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. There's a game I actually wanted to play. A lot of the times what I would see was, oh yeah, I've got that on Steam. I should probably play that.
Your backlog is
that was basically the case. Was like, oh, there's a game I really want to play, but I've got it on Steam. Well, now I can play it here, and I got it from it's very odd logic in my head of how these things work. So, yeah, Thar66. It took him 3 hours to update his aging PC. Yeah, I know. Yeah, gotta have Windows 10. Hey, I didn't do a.
roll call.
I didn't do a chat room roll call here. We got AC Wraith, Commander Root, Fubu Plays It, Green Sticky Stuff, Joja 1337, Lethal Migraine Lurks. That's new. Stephen Van Dam and Thar66. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us in the chat room. If you wanted to hang out with us, you could have. Go to twitch.tv and look us up. Type in in-game chat. Find us. You can watch the show live while we broadcast. By the way, we didn't really look into it, but one of our shows during the week decided to do a Facebook live stream for their show.
Okay.
Which was all well and good, and it was fantastic and worked great. And I thought about doing simultaneous, doing to Twitch and over to Facebook Live as well. Problem is that Facebook Live is really they're hardcore on copyright.
Yeah.
As I noticed yesterday, the music that show used to bump in and out were actual legit tracks. They would go to YouTube and find artists and songs and stuff, and they would play.
Yeah.
Wouldn't play the whole thing. They had no reason to play the whole thing, but they would play a little bit of it, and then Facebook would turn them off.
Yeah.
And you'd have to restart your stream. I don't necessarily know that the video game music would trigger that. It might.
Probably will.
Music of any kind probably does, but I don't know. I don't know how well their algorithm works. Maybe one day we'll try and do that and see what. We got to try it, see what happens.
Okay.
Another avenue for people to watch the show would be fantastic. So yeah. Can you request songs? You sure can. I would like you to do that, actually. You can shoot me an email. Scott@ingamechat.net is the email. Shoot an email over and request some songs. Go right ahead. I spend a lot of time the night before the show finding songs to play for our bumper music here in and out of commercial breaks. I try to keep them. I used to try and theme them. That got very hard to do. But at least I try to keep them as songs that we've never played before. And usually, if a new game releases, I try to find music from it. E3 was this week, so I tried to find music from some of these games, like I did today with Cadence of Hyrule, the Banjo theme, Contra 3 because of the Contra stuff. I try to tie it in with something that happened that week, but doesn't have to. Such as our next track, which that was showing up as I was trying to find music, and I just said, is that a game? And I looked it up. Oh, it is a game. Well, I'll use it because I hadn't used it yet. It's from a game called Worlds Adrift. I don't know anything about it. I know nothing about it. Metal Gear Revengeance. I think I've used music from Metal Gear Revengeance.
You certainly have talked about it.
Yeah, I can put my email here in the chat. .net. Boom.
Ori and the Blind Forest as well. Yeah.
I've used Ori and the Blind Forest mainly because we interviewed Gareth Coker, who composed the music.
Yeah.
So I've used Ori and the Blind Forest before. Broken Age, I don't think I've used. Yeah. Good suggestions there, Lethal. Thank you. I don't think I've used Broken Age. But I have used Ori because we did interview the composer. In fact, we used a lot of his music because he composed for Ark, and he composed for some Minecraft stuff too, as well as Ori. He did some VR work. I don't exactly know what he's working on now. I know he did the sequel, but I'm not sure what games he's composing on now at all. So, yeah, we're coming up to the end of the show, and we really didn't cover a whole lot as far as what I had lined up for us to talk about. There was, and in fact, I'm going to post this in the chat room. Oh, that just lets me copy it. That's nice of you, Google Documents. But do you... Oh, yeah, you do. Oops, I screwed the whole thing up. There we go. When you click that link that's in the chat room, it's going to open a video automatically. I hate you, GameSpot, for doing that. Let us play the videos if we want to do that, but don't worry about the video. Just read the description there on how to... That'll tell you how to extend your Xbox Live Gold and get the most out of your subscription. So, yeah. Didn't even talk about Destiny 2. Not that we would have, but we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about Konami announce. I don't know how Konami gets the idea to announce the TurboGrafx 16 Mini.
Yeah.
Konami owns TurboGrafx now? Konami owns that property? Yeah. I didn't know this. Oh, man, we didn't hit the Shenmue 3 thing. So...
Yeah, the exclusivity thing.
Yeah.
We talked about it a while, man. Folks really got it in for Epic.
Oh
Epic
boy,
Games
do
Store,
they
man.
ever! And they're also not refunding the money.
Yeah, which has got people talking about lawsuits already.
That they're not going to win.
No, but still, you know,
I say that, and I say that as completely nowhere near being a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I really don't know, but I'm almost positive it ain't going to happen.
The gist is basically, look, they said we're going to put it on these platforms. Then time goes by, the money keeps coming in, and something changes, and we're going to have it on a Epic Games Store exclusively, which wasn't what we thought at the beginning. But
in the beginning, Epic Games Store didn't exist.
Yeah. Like I said, something changed along the line, and there we go.
It would be interesting, and this probably exists out there, but it would be interesting for me to see the wording that was in the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
When people signed up and were picking all these things,
yeah.
Did it say Steam or did it just say PC? Because that is a window for them to say, we never promised you Steam.
Said we're going to be on Steam and PC.
Yeah. I have no idea.
That. Yeah.
Because I remember the wording from Cyan's game that they were doing.
Yeah.
And the wording on that was PC. And a lot of the people in the comments, and we asked Rand about this when he was on, a lot of the people in the comments were like, what platform on PC? Like, what store? Mm-hmm. Which one? They were very concerned about that. This was something nobody asked when Shenmue got a Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Shenmue 3 got a Kickstarter, I had gone to E3 that year. because Shenmue 3 was announced that year.
Right.
At my very final E3 that I went, Shenmue 3 was announced. So that goes back like, I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Sounds all right.
And Kickstarters only last like a month. So there was nothing in there. There was nothing in there for Epic. You know what I'm saying? They had nothing. They had no idea. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. This is something I want to get back to talking about. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to carry over into next week that we'll talk about. So, yeah, we're coming up on the end of the show. I want to thank everybody that called in. We had Eric call in. We had Chris call in twice. I appreciate it. Everybody in the chat room who hung out with us, thank you guys for joining us. Everybody listening as well, we appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who grabs us each week from iTunes. We appreciate that. Go to our website, ingamechat.net, and you can find all the ways you can join us and interact with us. Twitter, Facebook, our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. We're on Twitch right now. You can subscribe to that and get updates every time we go live. We've got a Steam group as well. We've got we're on Xbox. We got a group there. I don't even know if they still do that. We had one on PS4. I have no idea if they do that. We got the Discord that you can join us with, that sort of thing.
I still got to set that up.
Yeah, you really need to.
I do.
So anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic week. And RJ and I, and maybe a third, or just RJ and I. Matt will be back a week from next week. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But we'll be back. Have a great week. We'll see you next Saturday. Here is music, like I said, from Worlds Adrift.